quote, the promotion of homosexuality as a positive lifestyle alternative. Why did he do that, and can you describe how his thinking has evolved over the years?
Well, I think that you've seen the president speak passionately
What do
about
we
his
got
view that
today? What do we got today? All right. What do we got today? Let's make sure we are on. What do we got today? We are on. I want to see who is telling the truth. All right, let me share the stream. Who's telling the truth in the land of bullshit? Sorry, it just came out early. In the land of lies, who's telling the truth? In the land of lies, who is telling the truth? All right, I got to be a little more consistent on my YouTubes. Been out in the world trying to create some things lately. Let's get over here. Let me make sure that the stream is up and running strong. Okay, I hear it. I hear it. I see it. All right, I see it. Okay. We looking good. We looking good. We looking good. All right. Today we are going to talk about the Don't Say Gay bill. And I'm going to talk about it. I said, do I want to talk about this? Then I noticed that it just wasn't going away. So I said, sure, why not? Why not, self? Why not talk about this bill? All right. I'm going to share this on my other social media page. And maybe we can get some company in here. All right. The Don't Say Gay bill. And see, this is one of those things to where it's like it has to be broken down, because so often you hear people say, well, there's two sides to every story. Yeah, and sometimes one of them sides is the truth and the other side is a lie. So I want to find out if this is one of those times. Is this one of those times where, yeah, there is two sides to each story, and is the side to this story is one side a lie? Or is it just a misunderstanding? A misunderstanding. And so we're going to break it down. We're going to get down into it real good. We're actually going to go into the bill. You're going to be surprised. I think a lot of people think these bills are super daunting, but they're not. It's short. It's 4 pages, but it's not like, it's like triple spaced with big letters. So it's really based on the numbers, and so 1, 2, 3, 1 through 30 or whatever, or bullet points. So it's bullet points. So it's not long. It's nothing hard to get through. We're gonna get through it real nice and easy breezy before I have to run out of here and go meet my peoples. Meet my peoples. All right. So let's get this going. All right. So look, you guys. This bill, this Do Not Say Gay bill, has been really perplexing to me. It's been perplexing because when I first saw the bill, and I saw, I didn't see the bill first. I actually saw the fallout from the bill. So I heard like protests and people, like really raising their voice saying, don't say gay. Don't say gay. And I was wondering what is going on. What hit me automatically is because the way that it was presented, in my opinion, the way that I picked up what was being put down from the places I seen putting it down was this. Ron DeSantis in Florida is telling people that they can't say gay in school. And my automatic was like, Ruby. That sounds overreaching. And that really? I said, really? I don't know about that. Anything is possible. Anything can happen. But I said, let me figure this out because it just seems like for him to just say, hey, nobody can say gay in school. Like, wow, that seems like a bit of an overreach. How do you keep the word out of school? And so then I started looking at more different news stories and seeing the way that things were being built. But me, myself, and I like to hear from the horse's mouth. And I also like to go and try to read up on my own to try to figure out as much information as I can. Because this segment is called Who's Lying? Who lying? Why you always lying? Who's lying? So I want to know. So we're going to do a little background on this Do Not Say Gay bill. We gonna see who lying and who's not lying. Because, yes, there are two sides to every story, and sometimes one of them sides is just a straight out lie. All right. So let's get over here. We're gonna get into it. Let's get a little background to what's going on. Give you a little background of what's going on over here. All right, let's get over here.
We say gay! We say gay! We say gay!
We're going out right now for the Don't Say Gay bill.
So I urge my colleagues to look at this and me and those children, not as hypotheticals, but looking at myself and others as real life stories that's standing in front of you.
Just vote to empower parents and encourage them to take responsibility and to be partners with these teachers.
22 yeas, 17 nays, Mr. President.
So the bill passes.
It says if signed into law, the Parental Rights and Education Bill. So it's not called the Don't Say Gay bill. All right. It's called the Parental Rights and Education Bill. All right. And again, I'm going to let everybody pick up things for themselves, and then we just break it down a little bit. We are just here to figure out who's lying and who's not.
The way the bill is written, it says you can't have any classroom instruction.
All right. Now, look, we're going to read the bill. Listen to what she's saying. She said the way the bill is written, it says you can't have any classroom instruction. All right. So maybe we need to just go in the dictionary and figure out what instruction means. But let's get back to what she's saying. I want to really let you get into this. I want you to be right here where she is.
So what is classroom instruction? I mean, the problem is that it's so vague and overly broad. Most of what kindergarten through third grade is, tell me about yourself, tell me about your family, draw a picture of your family. And so
quick note, what she said is, she said kindergarten through third grade. All right. So apparently that's what I'm picking up, is those are the age groups that we're talking about when we talk about the Don't Say Gay bill, is which has been called, but it's really called, as we've seen, is the Parental Rights Bill. So we're talking about very young kids up to the third grade. All right. Just wanted to make sure you got that little tidbit.
instruction. I mean, the problem is that it's so vague and overly broad. Most of what kindergarten through third grade is, tell me about yourself, tell me about your family, draw a picture of your family. And so for any child that has an LGBTQ family member or sibling, or if they have two dads, all of a sudden you're going to have that child not being able to talk about their two dads. They're not going to be able to talk about what their family did over the weekend. All of a sudden the teacher has to say, no, sorry, we can't talk about that here. Basically, this is a government censorship bill.
think we've finally gotten to the point where kids are really comfortable coming out to trusted faculty at school. And I think that taking away.
Okay, so what they're showing right here, they just showed this girl and they said she's a senior. All right, it's right there on the screen. It has her name. It says senior at Olympia High School in Orlando, Florida. And she's giving her opinion on the bill. Now, what I find different is they found a senior in high school to give their opinion on the bill, but the bill is only for pre-K up to third grade. So the bill has nothing to do with this girl, but they're using her as a spokesperson to talk about how the bill makes her feel and what she thinks about it. All right, and how it's going to affect her. But in all actuality, from what these people have said so far, we're going to get to the bill, this bill doesn't actually affect her.
Coming out to trusted faculty at school, and I think that taking away the security of that will really have a detrimental effect. I had a 7th grade teacher who would have like a little GSA after school on Fridays. He would just kind of open up his room and he would let us talk. And it was a really good way for me to see that there were other kids like me and that I wasn't alone. And it was a good way to meet friends, and just having an adult at school who I knew supported me and everyone else in the room was just really helpful to me figuring myself out.
Again, they're using her as an example, and she's talking about when she's in 7th grade, how she had a teacher in a class where people could come and express themselves. And I think that's great. The only thing that I'm getting so far is that it's out of context because we're talking about preschoolers through 3rd grade. All right, what's going on with you, mad scientists? And so when you get her up there to give her story in her own context, I get it. You know, you guys had a place to express yourself, and you had a place where to feel normal. I get it. I understand. But let's keep in mind, she's given examples from when she was in 7th grade. And keep in mind, she's now a senior in high school. So from 7th grade to a senior, but we're talking about preschoolers through 3rd graders. And I wonder if they didn't get any of them to speak for themselves because maybe they wouldn't know what to say, maybe because they're too young. That's just my guess. Let's get back over here to what the real journalists are saying.
Look at the bill, and it says no sexual instruction in grades pre-K through 3. And so how many parents want their kindergartners to have transgenderism or something injected into classroom instruction?
I've also been a student for 13 years, so I'm fully aware there are not inappropriate conversations about anything related to the LGBTQ community going on in schools anywhere. If you walk into any elementary school in Florida, you are not going to hear any sort of inappropriate discussion other than, oh, you know, Emma has 2 dads, or, oh, you know, JoJo was born a boy, but now she's a girl.
Now, I wonder if certain people can consider that an inappropriate discussion. He was born a boy and now he's a girl. And so we have a 17-year-old giving context to her story to which she honestly has no context connecting to the actual bill herself. She does not connect to the bill. The bill isn't about her. She's years past the age to where the bill would connect to her, but still she's being used as somebody to talk about the bill. And Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, they gave him a few seconds and then backed it right back up with her, right? And so it just makes me wonder again. I'm trying to figure out who's lying. That's all. Why you always lying? That's all I'm trying to do is figure out who is lying. All right. And so I have to be a little bit cognizant of what's going on. You know, you got to pay attention. What they say, you got to do a little better. So I'm trying to do a little better. I'm just trying to see who lying. All right.
You know, there is nothing that is developmentally inappropriate happening in schools right now.
One more thing. How does one 17-year-old know what's happening in all schools? She's like, I can guarantee you that there's no school in Florida. How you know? All right. Maybe she's the all-knowing 17-year-old.
It allows
LGBTQ was developmental.
a school district. It allows any parent to sue a school district if they think that any material or any instruction or any conversation that has been had in a classroom is inappropriate. And therefore, the school districts will be liable for damages, and it opens the door to all of these frivolous lawsuits. And in order to prevent being sued under this bill by parents who think that something is inappropriate, even though it is entirely appropriate, schools may self-censor themselves in order to avoid frivolous lawsuits.
We will not be victims. We will not be victims. We will not be victims.
This is part of a nationwide attack on LGBTQ individuals.
I thought the bill was from pre-K to third grade. It sounds to me so far listening to it like they are taking something and making it something else. They're making up an issue to argue about that's not there. And we're going to read the bill, and I have to be honest, I did peruse the bill myself already. It's not long at all. We'll get through it. We'll cut through it like butter. It's not long at all. But to me, it seems like the framing of this is not exactly what we're even talking about. She's talking about LGBTQ getting discriminated against, which I definitely think does happen. But we're not talking about the overall discrimination of LGBTQ. We're talking about preschoolers through third grade. And so I guess what they're trying to say is you can be a part of the LGBTQ community in preschool to third grade. I think that's what I'm getting. I'm trying to listen to what she's saying to make sure that, I'm not losing my mind. Right? Seriously gaslighting. And so I'm just listening. I'm listening with these two ears, and I'm all right. They didn't give the other side a lot of time to speak. They gave Ron DeSantis about 5 seconds. All right, we got this lady over here. She doing the Harlem two-step, the jig, whatever it is she doing. It's the Don't Say Gay bill, which really is not called the Don't Say Gay bill. All right, let's go a little bit further.
This is part of a nationwide attack on LGBTQ individuals. It is a nationwide attack on free speech, and it is government censorship that we see happening across the country.
Right, okay. That was a lot to think about right there. That was a lot to think about. They gave us some dramatic music, the boom and we will not be victims. And all right, I get it. So I get it. I'm getting the emotion. I'm getting the, I'm getting the veracity. I'm getting the structure of the story. I'm getting it. So now what we have to do is we have to jump over there and listen to the other side, because again, there's always two sides to every story. And, and in this case, I think one side is lying. We just gonna have to figure out who. And it goes deeper. We're going to add a second element to this tomorrow. You like Disneyland? Yeah, we're going to add a second element of this tomorrow. Let me go over here and let's go see what we're going to see. Now, we're not going to go over there yet. We're going to come over here. And let me go over here to Ron DeSantis.
Asking about parental rights and education, what critics call the Don't Say Gay bill, is on the Senate floor.
Does it say that in the bill?
Know that you support.
Does it say that in the bill?
I'm
asking you to tell me what's in the bill because you are pushing false narratives. It doesn't matter what critics say.
Hold on, it says it bans classroom instruction on sexual identity and gender orientation.
For who?
For
grades pre-K through 3. So 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, and the idea that you wouldn't be honest about that and tell people what it actually says, it's why people don't trust people like you, because you peddle false narratives. And so we disabuse you of those narratives. And we're going to make sure that parents are able to send their kid to kindergarten without having some of this stuff injected.
Okay, so he made sure to reiterate the point that it was pre-K through 3rd grade. I think he said 3 to 7. Those ages, 3 to 7. All right. And so, like I said, we're going to dig in and make sure. But if that is the case, I do think that that is an important factor, because when we heard the other people talking, they were talking as if it was just shutting down free speech. One lady said it's like the end of free speech. It's just overall marginalization of LGBTQ. And right here, it seems like he's not talking about the overall. He's talking about pre-K through 3rd grade. And so when I listen to the context that the other people are making, it makes me think that they are saying that kids between the ages of 3 and 7 can be considered LGBTQ. Now, that is a question that I guess needs to be posed. Can kids from 3 to 7 consider themselves LGBTQ? What do you think? Is that too young to be considered to make a definition on what you are? Because that is what I am getting based on the counter to what they're saying. Okay, now there's a teacher in Florida, and I ran across this interview, and we're going to watch this, and then I'm going to get to the bill. And it was very interesting. It's a very interesting take. Let's listen to what this teacher in Florida has to say about this here bill right here. All right. It's super interesting to me.
Joining me now is Corey Bernard, a kindergarten teacher at Barbara A. Harvey Elementary in Parrish, Florida. He is openly gay and has spoken about how this new law is going to impact his classroom. Corey, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it. Just give me first your reaction.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
To the Florida governor signing this into law.
Yeah, it's twofold. It really hits hard in my heart professionally and personally, both. Professionally, it truly makes me feel like I am not trusted as a professional. I know my kindergarten standards through and through, and nowhere in our curriculum does it have anything about teaching sexual orientation or sexual identity.
Well, if it's nowhere in your curriculum, and it would seem, and you seem very competent, and you don't like people to question your competency, it doesn't seem like it would bother you. It's just what I'm getting as I'm listening to it. If you get something different, feel free to let me know. But that's just what, the things that come to my mind when I hear people speak.
So for them to say that's happening, it's kind of crazy. But we should be able to have discussions, and that's what we're encouraged to do in kindergarten. And then personally, because my kids do have questions. They want to know who my partner is in pictures outside of my classroom, and I should be able to speak to that.
What's going on, Chopper? Let me get over there. What's going on, Chopper? Glad you tapped in real quick. He says, if their parents are telling them they are, right, well, if their parents are telling them they are, then it would seem to me like the parents got it handled. Just my thoughts. But I don't know. The teacher is saying some things that made me just say, what is he talking about? All right. He says if the children, I'm going to play that one more time just so to make sure that you get it in its own context yourself. Then I'll explain some of it.
And that's what we're encouraged to do in kindergarten. And then personally, because my kids do have questions. They want to know who my partner is in pictures outside of my classroom, and I should be able to speak to that.
So do you worry that you won't even be able to talk about your own personal home life? I mean, I have a child in kindergarten right now. I know exactly that my child has 2 teachers, one of which has a daughter at home and is single. The other is married and has 4 children. I know everything about their lives because my kid tells me.
Absolutely. You are 100% correct. That's what we do as educators. We build relationships with our kids. And in order to build relationships, you talk about your home life. You talk about what you do on the weekends. That's building community. It scares me that I am not going to be able to have these conversations with my children because they're going to ask me what I did on the weekend. I don't want to have to hide that my partner and I went paddleboarding this weekend.
See, again, that's what I'm not understanding because it doesn't seem like this has anything to do with the bill. They're making it way wider of a problem, or what they're saying is a problem, than what's in the bill. And then, real short, he says that he don't think he'll be able to tell his students what him and his partner did on the weekend. He won't be able to tell them that he went paddleboarding. So I run it over in my mind. Hey, teacher. Hey, Mr. Teacher, what did you do on the weekend? I went paddleboarding. Like, why can't he say what he did? Me and my partner went paddleboarding. Who's your partner? The person that I'm married to, the person that I live with, the person that I share my life with. Like, that's it. I don't understand what the difficulty is. They're trying to make a problem that's not really there. And when I was a child, way back when, I don't remember my teachers telling them what they did on the weekends. All right. Let me see if I can get over here. I had something that I wanted to show you guys if it was still up. No, it's not up there no more. It's not up there no more. I was going to show you some of the comments that were made, under this video, because that's what I've been doing lately. I'll go and I will go look
a kindergarten teacher at Barbara A. Harvey Elementary in Parrish,
let me start
Florida.
her
He's
over.
openly gay and has spoken about how this new law is
I'll go and I'll look and I'll see what the people are thinking. And what YouTube has done is they took away the dislike. So you don't know who disliked, you only see the likes. Now, I don't remember being a child and my teacher telling me everything about what was going on in their personal life. It seems like, and I don't know if it's because my teachers were terrible and these teachers are great. I don't know, but it seems like there is no child's place anymore. Like, there's only certain things a child should know about a teacher. Remember things like none of your business. Stay in a child's place. Because after the questioning goes so far, I think that is something that I would want a teacher to tell my child. Like, I don't want my child, whether you're gay or straight, single, all that stuff. I don't even necessarily want my child to know if you're single and stuff like that. Because again, the anchor says, well, I have 2 children and my children are their teachers. One is married and has kids and the other one is single. And I know because they tell my children, but they tell their children what they want to tell your children. Do you think the single one tells your children, oh, and I went on a date last weekend and I really didn't like him because, his breath stank. He didn't have a good job. I didn't like his car. They're not getting into those type of details. They're telling them something very broad. So yeah, we know that the teacher may be single, but that's it. Because anything beyond that is a child's, is business for adults. Is business for adults. And that's what I'm getting out of this is there is no such thing as a child's place. And in these conversations, it's only one side. And so I think this is how narratives start to get spun. And when people think something is a certain way, again, the bill isn't even called Don't Say Gay. Let's listen to what he says a little more.
Especially when you have words that are injecting, indoctrinating, when you have those words coming from our state legislators and our higher government, those words, those are synonymous with some very hurtful words. And so when I think about navigating this bill, I am going to be mindful, but I'm going to follow my kids' discretion and what they want to discuss. And if they ask me, I'm going to be true and honest to them because it's who I am.
That's who you are. Cory Bernard, we celebrate who you are. Thank you.
And so I wonder if that, and I understand that we celebrate who you are, thank you, but it makes me wonder, is that what it's more about? Is it more about just celebrating the people who are pro a certain way, which means you got to argue with the people who may not see it the same way? All right, what'd you say down here? You said, my child says they have a kindergartner that is a lesbian. All right. Well, maybe they do, maybe they don't. But that was my question. Can we say that somebody from the age of 3 to 7 can, say that they're a part of the LGBTQ community? Or should adults say it for them? Should an adult suggest to a child, maybe you're trans, maybe you're gay, maybe you're lesbian, maybe you're lesbian? Have you ever thought about that? All right. And I think that's what they're saying. Hey, we're going to get to the bill, but again, we got to get the climatic setup. It's not really climatic. I just want people to have a background of what's going on. I'm gonna come over here real quick, and we're going to get to the White House real quick. Jen Psaki, I think her name is, the press secretary.
Joining me now is Cory Bernard, a kindergarten teacher at Barbara.
And no, that ain't him. That ain't her. All right, and so let me get over here. White House condemned.
Regarding the Florida bill, in 1994, when many of us in this room were in school, actually voted for a much broader restriction that banned federal funds from being used for, quote, the promotion of homosexuality as a positive lifestyle alternative. Why did he do that? Regarding the Florida bill, in 1994, when many of us in this room were in school, President Biden actually voted for a much broader restriction that banned federal funds from being used for, quote, the promotion of homosexuality as a positive lifestyle alternative. Why did he do that, and can you describe how his thinking has evolved over the years?
Well, I think that you have seen the president speak passionately about his view that a bill like this, a bill that would discriminate against families, against kids, put these kids in a position of not getting the.
So he asked her, what did she think about Joe Biden passing a bill or voting for a bill that was stricter than this? She ran right on past it. All right. She's going to go, well, that ain't the question. Even though he asked the question, metaphorically, she's saying, well, that ain't the question. Here's the question, and I'm going to give you the answer. And that's what they do. They redirect with their own question. So you ask Jen Psaki a question. Jen Psaki then turns around and tells you what the question should be, and then she answers her own question. Being a press secretary is, it takes a certain talent to be able to do that and just do it so in such a coy manner. But she does it. I have to give it to her. Hats off to you. But I catch it, but I don't know if everybody else does.
That a bill like this, a bill that would discriminate against families, against kids, put these kids in a position of not getting the support they need at a time where that's exactly what they need, is discriminatory. It's a form of bullying. It is horrific. I mean, the president has spoken to that.
And again, the question was about the president passing the bill or signing on to a bill that was stricter than this. But again, I think what she's talking about is stuff that, and again, you got to know, I read the bill already. We're about to get right to the bill right after this. But It has nothing to do with what she's talking about. They are completely misrepresenting the bill. And this is why you see people running with narratives that are not necessarily true, is because people who should be trusted, like Jen Psaki, the press secretary of the United States of America, while talking about the president, is outright lying by misrepresentation of what she's talking about. With a, straight face, very serious, somber, to the point to where you're supposed to believe these people. And like, again, we opened up and we showed students protesting the Don't Say Gay bill, which isn't even a name. And the whole thing, I'm again, this is called Who's Lying? And I think I already know who's lying.
In terms of his views and comments from 25 years ago, I think the most important question now is, why are Florida leaders deciding they need to discriminate against kids who are members of the LGBTQI community? What prompts them to do that? Is it meanness?
So Jen Psaki, I guess, answered my question we are calling kids from pre-K to the third grade LGBTQ, because she's saying that the bill is discriminating against LGBTQ kids, and that's the age group that the bill is for. Now, again, when she's saying discrimination and she's saying all these things that are happening, she's saying being discriminated against, but she never gives an example of said discrimination. So when you hear discrimination, I would want to know, okay, if you're going to say somebody is being discriminated against, give me an example of how they're being discriminated against so I can put it in proper context. But they're not. They're just saying words like discrimination. And so we're going to read the bill and let's find this discrimination she's talking about. Again, you have to keep in context that she's talking about kids from pre-K to third grade. What they're talking about is a whole overall struggle and making it as if these kids are going to be suppressed from being able to tell their feelings. And if they come from an LGBTQ home, they're going to have to just not be able to say it, which is just not true. All right.
Discriminate against kids who are members of the LGBTQI community. What prompts them to do that? Is it meanness? Is it wanting to make kids have more difficult times in school, in their communities? I would pose that question to them, and we can talk about it more tomorrow if you get an answer.
Was there a reason you supported the same policy, though, in the 90s when we were all in school?
I think what's important to note here is how outspoken the president has been against discrimination, against kids, against members of the LGBTQI plus community. And what we're looking at here is a bill that would propagate misinformed, hateful policies and impact children. So that's the question. I hope maybe you can pose that to some of the leaders in Florida. Maybe they'll return your phone calls, and I'll look forward to having that conversation with you.
Yeah, she slid him to the side and got on. She never even answered the question. And the question was, she was asking, like, hey, what's the difference now in when Joe Biden, was behind a bill that was even stiffer than this? And so, I'm going to do a little bit of math real quick, because she said 25 years ago, his opinion didn't matter. I'm trying to find out how old Joe Biden is. And again, this is just the way I think. Because she's saying 25 years like it was a long time ago. And indeed, in some lifetimes, 25 years ago could have been a very long time ago. All right. So how old is old Joe? Joe Biden he's 79 years old. He is 79. All right. So Joe Biden is 79 years old. That means he was 54 when he decided to, do something very similar to Ron DeSantis. He was not a child. And look, and if you come in, go ahead and hit the like button. If you could hit it twice, I would say hit it twice, but you can't hit it twice. You can only hit it once. If you hit the like button twice, then you just unliked. All right. So again, she just kind of slid around it. I thought it was very interesting. And so before I get out of here, I want to get to the actual bill, because the bill is not long. It's not long. I know people like that. Don't read the bill. It's going to take too long. But this is the only way that you can know, folks, show what it says. All right. So let me go ahead and get the screen ready. Get the screen ready, Freddie. All right. And we're going to pop up the bill. You know, who else does stuff like this? You know, I don't want to tell you what to think. I want you to know what to think. And so just so we don't be living off of sound bites, we can actually come over here and see what the bill says. All right. By Senator Baxley. All right. All right. An act relating to parental rights in education, amending S 101.142 FS, requiring that district school boards to adopt procedures that comport with a certain provision of law for notifying a student's parents of specific information. All right. Specific information, requiring such procedures to reinforce the fundamental rights of parents to make decisions regarding the upbringing and control of their children in a specified manner, prohibiting procedures from prohibiting a parent from accessing certain records. See, this is a part of the bill that nobody's talking about. They're trying to be able to make sure that the parents can access records that they want to access and that the parent is being notified about things happening with their child. And for some reason, this part of the bill isn't being spoken about at all. At all. You see it right here on your screen. All right. I had to make it a PDF version so we can go ahead and get into it so we can really read this thing. All right. And so it says, let me get back over here. Let me find my spot. Let me find my spot. You see how it's numbered? Okay. All right. Prohibiting the procedures from prohibiting a parent from accessing certain records, providing construction, prohibiting a school district from adopting procedures or student support forms that require school district personnel to withhold from a parent specified information or that encourage or have the effect of encouraging a student to withhold from a parent such information, providing an expectation. All right. And so what they're saying is that a teacher, the school, an administrator can't be encouraging a child not to tell their parents something, not to notify their parents about things that are going on in school. And they're trying to make sure that the parents can get all the information about their child from the school. All right. Now, me being a parent, I think that's a good thing. And again, we're talking about children from pre-K to third grade. So again, I'm trying to see why people are so hard pressed against this. All right. I'm really trying to understand it. And they're not talking about this part of the bill in the news at all. The part where you actually have some control in your child's education. All right. Your child's education. All right. Prohibiting school district personnel from discouraging or prohibiting parental notification or involvement in critical decisions affecting a student's mental, emotional, or physical well-being. Prohibiting a school district from encouraging classroom discussion. Okay, now this is the only part of the bill that I've noticed people talking about in the news. So I'm going to rewind real quick and I'm going to read this out. I want you to listen. I'm going to read this out. This is not third-hand information. It is not second-hand information. This, my friends, is the bill itself. And I'll tell you where you can go read it. It's very, very easy. It's called the parental guidance bill. I'll look up the bill, but I'll tell you before I get off exactly where you can find it. All right. So this is the part. This is the part that got everybody tweaking. All right. Let me go down here. All right. prohibiting school district personnel from discouraging or prohibiting parental notification and involvement in critical decisions affecting a student's mental, emotional, or physical well-being. That part nobody's talking about. They're trying to give power to parents. That's what I'm getting. This is the part. Prohibiting a school district from encouraging classroom discussions about sexual orientation or gender identity in primary grade levels or in a specific manner. A specific manner. Authorizing a parent to bring an action against a school district to obtain declaratory judgment that a school district procedure or practice violates certain provisions of the law. So they can sue you. Hey, when do they write a bill giving parents the right to sue? Think about it. When we talk about schools, we got the school boards, we have the union that's hard to break. And so all these things, and in the bill so far, it's we're on the 27th line. So from line 1 to 21, there's no mention of, right? And the bill isn't that long, but there's no mention of this stuff nowhere else in the bill about giving parents the right to be notified about big decisions and big things happening, about mental health, about physical health. These are things that are in the bill that they are giving parents the right to know. Now, they're arguing against the whole bill. They're not saying we should only take out one part. They're arguing against the whole bill, and we're talking about a bill that covers kids from pre-K to third grade. Why are they so pressed to keep information from the parents of these little kids? And why are they so pressed to teach sexual orientation and things of that manner? And it says in a specific manner, all right? And so they're trying to be like, we don't know. It's too wide ranging. Read that part again because I think this is important, and this is the part of the bill that everybody is, up in arms about. Not everybody, but it's the most discussed part, the only part that I've seen discussed. From a very short bill anyway. They've even shortened it to this much. All right. So here it is. It says, prohibiting a school district from encouraging classroom discussions about sexual orientation or gender identity in primary levels or in a specific manner. A specific manner, what I get is you can't walk up to somebody's kid and say, well, Billy, I know, Billy, you feel like a girl. I think you a girl, Billy. You might as well just go on and just, call yourself a girl. It's okay. It's okay. Because I don't think that is a teacher's place. Just like we have, they say a child should stay in a child's place. Everybody got the place and a position they belong on this earth. And teachers definitely play a great position, but it's not to determine the sexual identity of a pre-K child through a third grade child, because they're arguing as if it's just all children. They can't talk to these high schoolers, and they're giving these examples like, if a child comes from a home with two men or two women as their parents, that child can't say it. It can't say, I come from a same-sex home, or I have two mommies and I have two daddies. That is not what the bill says. The bill doesn't say anything about what the child can and can't say. It specifically says that the school districts cannot tell your children about sexual orientation, gender identity. So gender identity. I personally, as a parent, do not want my children's teachers, because every person comes with their own ideology. Even though people on the Supreme Court, they say they're not supposed to have an ideological bend, but as we see, it's been formed on an ideological bend. So even the most pristine people who are supposed to be non-judgmental seem to have a perceived bias. And so, no, I don't want no teacher that have their own bias teaching my or talking to my child about sexual orientation or gender identity in primary levels. And so the pre-K through third grade. All right. So we're reading this. So when you hear the noise, it's just me and my boys when you hearing the noise. No, that's not it. When you hearing the noise, you know what's going on. We are reading the actual factual bill, all right, in primary levels or in a specific manner, authorizing a parent to bring an action against a school district to obtain a declaratory judgment that the school district's procedure or practice violates certain provisions of the law, providing for additional award of injunctive. Here, let me bring my screen down some. You see, you got to know what you got. We got to know what we talking about. We got to know, right? We got to know what we talking about. All right, let's get over here. So we're reading the actual bill, and look, we're halfway done with the bill. The bill isn't a long bill, and I've narrated the bill as we broken down. Do not be afraid of these things, you guys. It's very easy language. These people don't got a lot of time to write all these details in the bills and stuff. They got to figure out how to scam you out of your money. This is just something ancillary in the way. These are wedge issues. Court costs to certain parents requiring certain training development or provided by a school district to adhere to standards established by the Department of Education, requiring the department to review and update as necessary specified materials by certain date, providing an effective date, be it enacted by legislature of the state of Florida. Section 1, paragraph C is added to subsection 8 of section 1001.42 Florida statutes to read 1001.42 powers and duties of district boards. All right. The district school board acting as board shall exercise all powers and perform all duties listed below. In accordance, let me get that right, in accordance with the right of parent enumerated in SS 1002.20 and 1014.04 adopted procedures for notifying a student's parents if there is a change in student services or monitoring related to the student's mental, emotional, or physical health or well-being to a school's ability to provide a safe and supportive learning environment for the student. So basically, what I am getting is what that is saying again is that you guys are going to notify the parents what's going on with their children when they are having physical health or well-being or emotional, mental, physical health or well-being, and any school's ability to provide a safe and supportive learning environment for the students. They are going to notify the parents. That is what this bill is calling for. And this part of the bill is silent. Why they out there, don't say gay. And I haven't seen don't say gay nowhere in the bill yet. We're reading the bill. I think I know who's lying. See, the people that watch this, you're going to have to deal with people who are mad that you know stuff they don't. It's just part of it. It's just part of it. All right. All right. For the student. All right. Let me see. Where was I? The procedures must reinforce the fundamental right of parents to make decisions regarding the upbringing and control of their children by requiring school district personnel to encourage a student to discuss issues relating to his or her well-being with his or her parents, or to seek permission to discuss or facilitate discussions of the issue with the parent. So basically it's saying you have to, hey kid, you got to talk to your parent. It's not saying I can't talk to you as a teacher. I can't take steps. If I'm a teacher and I see a child that's having a problem, what this bill is saying is reach out to the parents. Reach out to the parents. Try to facilitate the conversation between the parents and that child. And if it needs help, then you involve the parents. But you as the teacher do not have the right to dictate without telling these parents what's happening, because what you do see a lot in this bill is the word parents. You never see gay, but you do see parents. But when you see it on the news, you never hear parents, but you do see gay. The procedures must comply with S1002.22 and may not prohibit a parent from accessing any of his or her minor child's. Hold on, let me go over here. And this is the last page of the bill. We almost done. We almost done with the bill. We almost done with the bill. You know, when they making these things seem like they something, you just say, why you always lying? You know, let me see if I can get to the bottom of it, if I can stretch it out so this part of the bill can show. It's so short. It's having problems making it onto my screen. Yeah, that I mean. All right, here, this is what I can do. Let me see. All right. Right, let me go up to that page right there. All right, it might not let me show it. It might not let me show the rest of it. It's another 2 paragraphs that are super short. It's not even 2 paragraphs. It's if we're going by enumeration, what number is this? It is on the screen. I got it. So this is the last of it right here, from number 59 to 79, right? So just remember, these things, they come in lines, the enumerated lines. This bill is only 79 lines in total. So to get all this misconception in this short of a bill, it concerns me. It should concern you. All right. So I'm going to read from 58 on out. Again, it says, prohibit a parent from accessing any of his or her minor child's education records created, maintained, or used by the school districts. All right. You can't stop a parent from getting the records that are maintained by the district. That's what this is saying. This paragraph does not limit or alter any obligation of school district personnel to report suspected abuse, abandonment, or neglect, as those terms are defined in 3901. So what that's saying is, as a teacher, because what they're doing is trying to make it like you're taking all the empathy out of being a teacher by saying you have to include these children's parents and you can't talk to them about their sexual orientation. That's none of your business. Right? So, yeah, it just seems like they're trying to make it something it's not. All right? Educational records created, maintained, or for use by the school district. This paragraph does not limit or alter any obligation of the school district personnel to report suspected abuse, abandonment, or neglect, as those terms defined in 39.01, which means if the child is abused, say something, say something, say something. Do your job. You still can have the same compassion. You just can't tell him, hey, Timmy, you feel like a girl? Well, go on and put on a dress. You might as well, and it's okay, Timmy. That's what they want to do, because I'm listening to the counter argument to the bill. Then when I read the bill, the counter argument has nothing to do with the bill. Why you always lying? 63. 2. A school district may not adopt procedures or student support forms that require school district personnel to withhold from a parent information about his or her student's mental, emotional, or physical health or well-being, or change in related services or monitoring, or encourage or have the effect of encouraging a student to withhold from a parent such information. Again, this is just reiterating stuff they said at the top. The bill is even shorter than I thought, because this is a repeat of what they said at the beginning. All right. information unless reasonably okay, right, or encouraged to have effect or encourage a student to withhold from a parent such information unless a reasonable, prudent person would believe that such disclosure will result in abuse, abandonment, or neglect, as those terms are defined. See, so it's not like you if you think that it's going to harm the child in a real way, abuse, abandonment, or neglect, then you go right around the parents. You go right on around them. This is specifically about giving parents the power to be able to say, hey, this is what I want my children to learn about and know about when you guys are talking about sexual orientation and gender. And I got the right to see the records. I don't understand the argument. School district personnel may not disclose or prohibit parental notification and involvement in critical decisions affecting a student's mental, emotional, or physical well-being. A school district may not encourage classroom discussion about sexual orientation or gender identity in primary grade levels or in a manner that is not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for the student. All right. So that's where they're saying, we don't know what that means. You know what that means. You do know what that means. All right. A parent of a student may bring a action against what I got under there. They won't let me get to that last line. All right. But basically against the district. So there is the bill. We ain't hear from nobody. We heard it direct. This again, me friends, is the actual bill itself. So, hey, I'm gonna get my mouse on over here so you can see my mug again. Hello. So that's what it is, you guys. That's what it is. We went through the whole bill. We went through the Do Not Say Gay bill, and we listened to some opinions. We listened to opinions first, and we went through the facts after. So who am I going to say on this segment of Why You Always Lying? Of who's lying? The anti-side is lying when it comes to this bill. And there's a lot of great stuff for parents that they are completely leaving out. And the bill is not even called the Don't Say Gay bill. All right. Oh, yeah. And I told you guys I'll let you know where you can find this bill. So let me do so. Let me do so. Don't want to not keep my word. Word. All right, SB Bill 130. So I got this from FloridaSenate.gov. All right, official government website. I can't say that don't mean they don't lie, but it is an official government website. Yeah, I can't say they don't lie, but that's where I got it from. All sources are disclosed, so now you know. If you don't know, my name is Tyrone Irvin. This is Soapbox Heroes. I got to run. I got a gun. I got to go. So look, there's people over here. Jen Psaki, you was lying. Ron DeSantis, you're telling the truth. Lady right here, you are vastly over-exaggerating. Guy right here, you the teacher, you worry me. He said you guys don't trust me. No. After hearing your thoughts on this, hell no, I don't trust you. And it's not because you're gay. It's because you don't know the difference between adult business and kids' business. My kids don't need to know your adult business.